Hey everyone, welcome to another deep dive with us.
Hi, everyone.
Today we're going to be looking at something
Yeah.
pretty interesting, something you might not think about every day.
Right.
And that is the connection between artificial intelligence and sustainability,
Absolutely.
especially when we're talking about government services.
Well,
So to help us unpack all this, we're going to be taking a look at an article by Dr. Darren Pulsifer,
okay.
who's the Chief Solutions Architect over at Intel.
Interesting.
And the article is called Smart, Not Supersized.
Okay.
Rethinking AI for Sustainable Government Services.
Catchy title.
Now, have you ever stopped to think about, the environmental impact of all this, cool AI stuff that's popping up everywhere?
You know, it's funny you should mention that because I was just reading an article about that.
Because it turns out it's a pretty big impact.
It is a significant impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So governments, obviously, they want to use AI to make things better for citizens.
Of course.
But AI can also be this huge energy drain.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah, so let's unpack this a little bit.
Sure.
The article mentions that data centers,
Okay.
which are basically the brains behind a lot of AI,
Yeah.
they already use 1 to 2% of the entire world's power.
Wow.
That's a massive amount of energy
It is.
just to run algorithms.
Yeah, and they're only going to get bigger.
Right. And so the prediction is...
Well, the prediction is that AI could double that energy consumption by 2030.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
Double.
Double.
So that's like powering a small country
It's like a whole small country.
just to keep AI running.
Yeah, think about it this way.
Oh, man.
All those massive AI models that we hear about all the time,
Like ChatGPT.
like ChatGPT, exactly.
Yeah.
Think about the cost of running that.
It makes you wonder if all this AI is really worth it
That's a good question.
from an environmental perspective.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. And you know, governments are facing pressure from both sides.
Yeah.
You know, they're being pushed to be more eco-friendly.
Right.
But also, they need to deliver better services.
Of course, because if they don't, then
Right.
people complain.
Exactly. And so they're kind of stuck in this catch-22.
So what can they do? How do they choose the right AI solutions without breaking the bank energy-wise?
Well, they can't just go for the flashiest
Mm.
or most powerful AI.
Mm.
Bigger isn't always better.
Yeah.
Dr. Pulsifer in the article uses this great analogy.
Okay.
He compares choosing AI to choosing between a Ferrari and a golf cart.
Okay, I like where this is going. A Ferrari and a golf cart.
Right.
How does that apply to AI?
Okay, so think of it this way.
Okay.
A Ferrari is powerful and fast,
Yeah.
but if you're just driving across a golf course,
Right.
do you need all that horsepower?
You don't need a Ferrari to go get a sandwich.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A golf cart would be much more practical,
And fuel efficient.
not to mention fuel efficient.
Yeah.
And it's the same with AI.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a smaller, more specialized AI is perfect for the task at hand.
Yep.
And way more sustainable than a giant energy-hungry model.
So it's about finding the right tool for the job.
Yes.
Not just using the biggest and fanciest AI on every problem.
Exactly.
It's about being smart with the technology.
That's the idea. Agencies need to look closely at their needs and choose AI that fits
Yeah.
those needs, not just what's generating the most buzz.
So are there examples of this happening
Oh, yeah.
in the real world
Absolutely.
where agencies are choosing these, golf cart AIs, so to speak?
Yeah, the article gives a couple of great examples.
Okay, let's hear it.
The U.S. Census Bureau, they had a huge task,
Okay.
manually pulling data from thousands of financial documents.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so tedious.
Yeah, super tedious and time-consuming.
Right,
But instead of building some massive AI system,
right.
they went with a very targeted AI solution,
Okay.
specifically for analyzing documents and extracting data.
So they found an AI that was really good at one specific thing,
Thanks,
and that's
Jess.
all they needed.
That's all they needed. And because this AI was designed for a very specific task,
Right.
it didn't need huge amounts of computing power to work.
Got it.
So it was much more efficient than a giant, what we would call a large language model or
Yeah.
LLM.
Yeah.
And it was able to drastically cut down processing time.
So they saved time and energy.
Exactly. A win-win.
Win-win.
Yeah.
What about the other example?
The other example comes from Los Angeles County.
Okay.
They needed a way to provide translations for their incredibly diverse population,
Sure.
which speaks over 75 languages.
Wow, 75 languages.
I know, right?
You'd think they'd need a huge, powerful AI for that.
You would think so.
Yeah. Okay.
But they found a much more sustainable solution.
Okay.
They're using a specialized AI model
Okay.
designed specifically for translation. And get this,
Yeah.
it runs on a laptop.
Wait, Alexa, I thought we were talking about complex language processing here.
I know, right?
It's wild.
It's a great example of how a specialized AI can be incredibly effective
Yeah.
without needing tons of computing power.
So they're getting the job done without a huge energy bill.
Absolutely.
These examples are pretty inspiring.
Yeah, I think they are.
They show that it is possible to be smart about AI and have a positive impact on the environment.
It's not all doom and gloom.
No.
Oh,
And it's not just about direct energy savings.
that's right.
Remember when government services move online, it saves citizens time and reduces their carbon footprint because they're making fewer car trips.
Less driving.
Yeah, think of all the gas you could save if more government services were easily accessible online.
Right.
No more waiting in line at the DMV.
Exactly.
That would be fantastic.
So it's all connected.
Yeah.
By using smart, sustainable AI solutions, we can create a future where technology serves both people and the planet.
I love that.
But it's not just up to governments to make these changes.
So are you saying individuals have a role to play in all of this?
Absolutely. We all have a part to play in promoting sustainable AI.
That's a great point. We'll have to dive into that more a little bit later.
Okay.
What can individuals do to make a difference when it comes to AI and sustainability? We'll be right back to explore that after a quick break. So we've been talking about how choosing the right kind of AI can make a real difference in sustainability, especially when it comes to something like government services.
Yeah, it's about making smart choices.
Right,
You know,
right.
understanding the impact of our choices when it comes to technology.
You mentioned that individuals also have a role to play in promoting sustainable AI. What did you mean by that?
Well, it's easy to think that our individual actions don't really matter.
Yeah.
When we're talking about these giant AI systems and massive data centers.
Right, it feels very big.
Yeah, but actually our choices as consumers do have an impact.
Okay.
And
I'm curious to hear more about that. How can we as individuals make a difference when it comes to something as big as AI?
well, one thing we can do is be more aware of the products and services that we use that rely on AI.
Okay.
For instance, if you're choosing a streaming service,
Oh.
do some research into their environmental commitments.
So look into the company itself.
Yeah, exactly. Like, do they use renewable energy to power their data centers? Are they actively working to reduce their carbon footprint?
That's a good point. It's about supporting companies that are taking sustainability seriously.
Exactly. We can vote with our wallets, so to speak,
Right. Yeah.
and choose to support companies that are aligned with our values.
So it's about being informed consumers and making choices that support a more sustainable AI ecosystem.
Right. And sometimes simply asking questions can make a difference.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, when you see a cool new AI application,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to ask, could this be done in a more sustainable way? I might be surprised by the answer.
Yeah.
Or you might inspire someone to think about the problem differently.
It's about raising awareness and encouraging companies to think about sustainability as a core part of their AI development.
Exactly. And beyond supporting sustainable companies, there are things we can do in our own digital lives to reduce our impact.
What do you mean, like turning off our computers when we're not using them?
Sure, that's a good start. But it's also about being more mindful of our data consumption habits.
Okay.
Do we really need to stream movies in 4K? Or can we reduce the resolution to save energy?
Oh, I see.
Can we download files instead of streaming them? Every little bit helps.
I never really thought about it that way. But it makes sense. The more data we consume, the more energy those data centers need to use.
It's about being aware of the energy consumption that's happening behind the scenes, even when we can't see it.
But I have to admit, sometimes it feels like a losing battle. Like, what difference does it really make if I delete a few old emails when these huge data centers are running 24/7?
I understand that feeling. But it's important to remember that collective action can have a big impact. If millions of people make small changes in their digital habits, it can add up to significant energy savings. And it sends a message to companies that consumers care about sustainability.
So you're saying that our individual choices, combined with the actions of governments and companies, can create a more sustainable future for AI?
Precisely. It's a multifaceted challenge that requires a multifaceted solution.
Okay, that makes sense. But going back to what we were talking about earlier about choosing the right AI for the job, are there other ways that AI can actually be used to help with sustainability?
That's a great question. And the answer might surprise you. AI is already being used in some really innovative ways to tackle environmental challenges.
Really? Tell me more. This is where it gets really interesting.
For example, AI is being used to optimize energy grids, making them more efficient and reducing waste. Imagine a smart grid that can predict energy demand and distribute power accordingly. minimizing losses and maximizing the use of renewable energy sources.
That sounds incredible. It's like AI is becoming a conductor for the energy orchestra, making sure everything is in harmony.
That's a great analogy. And AI can also be used to monitor and protect our natural resources.
Hmm.
Think about AI-powered drones that can scan forests for signs of disease or illegal logging, or AI systems that can analyze satellite imagery to track deforestation patterns.
Wow, it's like having an army of AI environmental protectors keeping a watchful eye on our planet.
And it doesn't stop there. AI can also help us develop new sustainable materials and technologies. For instance, researchers are using AI to design more efficient solar panels, create biodegradable plastics, and even discover new ways to capture carbon from the atmosphere.
It sounds like AI has the potential to be a powerful tool in the fight against climate change.
It absolutely does. It's
Yeah.
all about how we choose to develop and use this technology.
But I do have one concern. We've talked a lot about reducing AI's environmental impact, which is obviously important. But isn't there a risk that we'll end up limiting AI's potential if we're constantly worried about energy consumption?
That's a valid concern. We don't want to stifle innovation in the name of sustainability. But I think the key is to shift our mindset. Instead of seeing sustainability as a constraint on AI development, we need to see it as a driving force for innovation.
Can you explain that a little more? How can sustainability be a driving force for innovation?
Well, think about it this way. When we're forced to work within limitations, we often come up with the most creative solutions. If we approach AI development with sustainability as a core principle, it'll push us to design more efficient algorithms, develop more energy-efficient hardware, and find new ways to leverage AI for environmental good.
So instead of asking, can we make this AI work, we should be asking, can we make this AI work sustainably?
Exactly. And I think that shift in thinking will lead to some truly groundbreaking advancements in AI. We'll start seeing AI solutions that are not only powerful and intelligent, but also incredibly efficient and environmentally friendly.
That's a really interesting perspective. It's about finding a balance between progress and responsibility.
Exactly.
Mm.
And it's a balance we need to strive for in all aspects of our technological development.
Well, this has been a really thought-provoking conversation. What's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this deep dive?
I want people to understand that the future of AI is in our hands. The choices we make today will shape the trajectory of this technology. We can choose to use AI to create a world that's smarter, more sustainable, and more equitable for all. That's a powerful message. So what can listeners do to get involved and make a difference? So what can listeners do to get involved and make a difference? Feels like such a big issue. Where do you even start?
Yeah, it can feel a little overwhelming, but there are actually a lot of things individuals can do.
Oh, well.
One of the most important is simply staying informed.
Okay.
Read about the latest developments in AI and sustainability.
Keep up with it all.
Yeah, and pay attention to how companies are using AI.
So, do your research?
Yeah, are they prioritizing efficiency? Are they transparent about their energy consumption? Those are good things to look for. It's about being a conscious consumer and knowing what questions to ask.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to speak up.
Yeah. Right?
Let companies know that you care about sustainability.
So, reach out to them.
Yeah, support organizations that are advocating for responsible AI development.
So it's about making our voices heard and using our collective power to push for change.
Right. And remember, sustainability isn't just about reducing our environmental impact.
Right.
It's also about creating a more equitable world.
That's a good point.
AI has the potential to address some of the world's most pressing social challenges, from poverty to healthcare.
So we need to make sure that AI is developed and used in a way that benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Exactly. And that means ensuring that everyone has access to the opportunities that AI creates.
Right. So it's not just the privileged few who get to benefit.
Right. We need to think about things like AI education and workforce development.
It's about making sure that the AI revolution leaves no one behind.
Precisely. And that's something that we all have a stake in.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive. I've learned so much about this whole complex relationship between AI and sustainability.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. And I feel hopeful, that we can create a future where AI is a force for good in the world.
Me too. And I think that future starts with each of us taking responsibility for our own actions and demanding better from the companies and organizations that are shaping the AI landscape.
It's about remembering that we all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI.
Absolutely.
To our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of sustainable AI.
Thanks, everyone.
We hope you've learned something new, and we encourage you to continue exploring this important topic. Until next time, stay curious and stay engaged.